Hello, everyone, and welcome to another GnWC Weekly. I am the Duke, and I am joined by my good buddy.
I'm Chevy Chase, and you're not.
You're giving me all these short ones lately. It's throwing me off. That's Angry Larry. I'm the Duke, and we're here to talk about some wrestling with you. The wonderful world of sports entertainment, world wrestling entertainment, and total nonstop action, and anything else we can throw into the mix. NXT doesn't actually stand for anything. It's just NXT. We'll talk
It
about it
doesn't.
a lot. But I'm going to pass it over to Larry, and he's
But
going to go over the news and notes.
well, just to do a recap on last week, the conversation with the Bullet Club. Are they not coming to WWE? Did they or did they not secure the rights to use the name? As of now, New Jersey Pro Wrestling, probably New Japan Pro Wrestling, still owns the rights to Bullet Club. So that is as of like today. So there's no plans of that. Anybody but Gallows, Anderson, and AJ Styles that was rumored to come over is being confirmed not coming over, except for in Bullet Club. Nakamura is still coming over. And the plans for them to come over are going to be in mid February to late February, or in Gallows and Anderson's case in March. So we might not be seeing them in the Royal Rumble or in NXT anytime soon. They're doing a TV taping for February in late January. They're probably not going to be there for that. So temper expectations, and maybe we are hit with a surprise, but probably not. Also,
Oh,
staying in WWE though, Sister Abigail may be coming to a ring near you.
ooh,
Yeah, they may be putting a Sister Abigail character on TV to work with the Wyatt family.
man! I hope it's Micah. I hope it's actually Wyatt's sister.
Micah?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. All
Micah
right.
Rotunda. I really hope it's her.
You said Micah, and I thought Camacho. I don't know why.
No, Micah
Uh,
Rotunda, because
Male.
she keeps teasing, that like on her social media and stuff that she's got big things coming. But people tease big things about all the time. You don't know what
Yeah.
anything actually means. But I mean, she's in phenomenal shape and
Right.
could make, and it would be interesting to have someone that actually looks like Bray Wyatt as
I
Sister
would love for it to be
Abigail.
ODB.
You would love for it to be who?
ODB.
I don't know who that is.
Oh man, you're done. Oh, you're done.
You done,
O-
son? What?
ODB. She was in NXT for a while,
Oh,
and she's in Ring of Honor now, here and there, select dates. She works with the Briscoes. She's a predominantly she was a predominantly Northeast independent wrestler at a time, but she's been in TNA for a long time. Champion, tag team champion, stuff like when they had the women's division, stuff like that. Actually, she was tag team champions with Eric Young at one point, but I think that was women's tag team champions. I don't really remember TNA back then, but
well, another
yeah,
thing.
I can make up anything. Like she could have been tag team partners with a cardboard box back then, and it would have been like,
Well, another thing.
legit.
Just one more random bit of speculation. And I'll let you keep going with the segment. But it would be interesting if it was. I don't think you watched Tough Enough, but there was a girl that kind of got kicked out of Tough Enough before, she was picked, and then they did the final physical, and she had some sort of heart issue, like heart irregularity on the tests or something like that. But she was like really like grunge, like really like purple hair and all kinds of piercings, and like she was very
Do you have a
like,
name?
what's that?
Do you remember her name?
I do not, but she was very extreme, and she was like, she cut an amazing promo, and she looked great in the ring when they were doing just the quick little run through tryout type stuff. Like she performed better than anybody else before the performance actually mattered.
Jesse.
And but then when she went through the physical, there was something in her test that said, no, you're not gonna, they won't sign off on you for now. So
Yeah, her name was Jesse.
Jesse.
I think. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We'll go with that, even if that's not right.
Okay, but she was like really
Yes.
good. She was and I think she could play the character well because the promo she cut when they didn't really need to know what a promo was fantastic because she was actually a wrestling fan. So that's all I got. You can
No,
move on.
I'm sorry. As you were talking, I was trying to look it up to get the name because I do have Tough Enough News as well, and I just wanted
Whoa,
to see if they kind of like crossed each other at any time.
that would
Like
be
if you were talking about somebody who I was going to talk about, and they just
oh
had different names, but I don't see her on the list. I just saw her in a Google search that said Jesse could not make the competition, but then I don't see her in this rundown here. But anyway, staying with the WWE, uh, Duke, where's Tyler Breeze been?
I don't know.
Rumor is Triple H brought Breeze in because he felt like he could be a star on the Dolph Ziggler level, a heel on the Dolph Ziggler level when he was a heel. Vince stopped being impressed by Tyler Breeze, and the push was ended.
Really?
According to reports, yeah. We only saw Breeze within the last few weeks.
Wait. But we saw him
Yeah.
on Raw, and he was in the main event. I mean, yeah, he was in the main event with like the
Right.
Ascension, but
He was like
still,
12 other people, but he was there. But was he on Raw and SmackDown the week before? SmackDown this week? Has he been on Superstars or? And this one's a legitimate question. I don't know if he's been on Superstars or anything
actually, I
else.
think he was on Super. I think he was in a
Right.
match on
So
Superstars.
now you get the confirmation he's been relegated to no push if he was on those shows.
Uh,
It's where we put the other people. So hopefully they repackage him, they retool him, maybe they pair him up with someone, put him in the tag team division, throw some sparkles on them and, call them a team and then they somehow contend for a tag team spot later on in the year. But allegedly right now his push is done. And he's like been Adam Rosed in a sense. But on the women's division, or I'm sorry, on the Divas division, we're going to be talking about more about the Divas later on. But there's been speculation that Sasha Banks has had an injury, and that's why she hasn't been around. She is adamantly denying she has any sort of injury. But on the same hand, WWE has been saying she's been injured. She's on a whatever doctor's orders not to wrestle. So that's a little weird too, and that's keeping Naomi and Tamina off TV as well. And we'll talk about more on that a little bit later. And Paige is also suffering from a concussion, and that's why you haven't seen her if you haven't noticed as well.
well, I've
So.
suspected that was going on with Sasha for a while.
Right, I did too, but
because she would come out and she would just like she would be the perfect fit for, and that doesn't mean anything with the quote unquote Divas Revolution, but she would be the perfect fit for certain things, and it would the three of them would come out, and it would be Naomi or it would be Tamina, and so it's like this is weird. Why? It's like there is a concerted effort to keep her out of the ring. It's very odd, and I just thought maybe it was an injury. So
yeah,
but we can get back on
she's
that.
saying
in a bit.
there's not. Other people are saying there is. So who to believe, who not to believe, stuff like that. But also in the Divas division, guess who's training for a WrestleMania 32 match? Stephanie McMahon.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I saw that she was doing those sled pushes because Triple H always posts up his 1,000-pound sled pushes, which is unreal. And then I saw her doing one, like she posted one up, and I was just like, well, that's kind of weird. I mean, she's all about. I mean, she's been on Muscle and Fitness and stuff like that, and she's all about getting in shape and looking good too. But at the same time, it's just like it's kind of odd to be working on pushing around that much weight. So the correlation didn't occur to me, but that makes sense now.
Yeah. Yeah. So she's allegedly training for a WrestleMania 32 match. So, I guess it wouldn't be news and notes without mentioning that there is another new U.S. champion again.
As of tonight, or technically
as of tonight,
Tuesday.
Of Tuesday, Alberto Del Rio.
Alberto Del Rio.
John Cena did that pretty good last week on SmackDown, by the way. You didn't see that. He did a not a full Spanish announcement for Alberto Del Rio, but he announced his name with the rolling R's and everything.
Yeah.
Sounding like Ricardo Rodriguez. It was pretty good.
That's fantastic.
It was pretty good, yeah. So switching from the Divas to the Knockouts.
Okay.
TNA taped not taped but they had a one night only their one night only series of pay-per-views, and we'll talk about that in a couple seconds, what that means. But in the women's match, it was a gauntlet match, which is a Royal Rumble style match, but the last two competitors have to win by pinfall or submission instead of throwing each other over the top rope. There were two debuts in that match for TNA. One of them being Chelsea from Tough Enough. She was the I think it was a controversial exit, right?
No, no. Wait, was it Chelsea?
Yes.
Okay, no. Chelsea was the
Chelsea Green.
Chelsea Green is the SWA graduate, is Storm Wrestling Academy graduate.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh no, she was the one that came back.
Okay.
The one girl. There was one girl who decided to leave, and she was brought back in that girl's place.
They mentioned there was a controversial.
That's where the controversy was. Yeah.
Okay. She was also the physical therapist who allegedly Daniel Bryan touched in storyline.
Right. Yeah. She was also she was part of a storyline at one point.
Storyline only, but yeah. So she's multifaceted, and now she's on TNA, or she's a knockout.
I just saw something on Twitter though, just to throw something out there. I just saw something on Twitter that like she started training in Japan today, so I don't know what that means.
Yeah. Well, I mean, TNA might not tape again for another 3 weeks.
True enough.
Wrestlers could be, I don't know what they taped. I don't want to see what they taped. I want to watch it week to week.
Right. So, yeah, and I'm not trying to spoil anything. I just saw. Yeah. I saw Storm say something about it. Lance Storm say something about it. I'm like, oh, well, that's an interesting.
Well, a lot of the people
for you to bring her name up, that was just like, that's weird.
Yeah, a lot of people they bring in for one night only don't have a TNA contract. They have like a per diem, let's say.
They have a one night only contract.
They have a one night only contract, but they could have used her on the TV tapings too for the next couple of weeks, and then she's free to go out elsewhere, and other people have to pick and choose their bookings because TNA doesn't want them to get hurt. But Raquel is also a new TNA knockout. She didn't debut on the one night only taping though, but she's in TNA, and she is former Tough Enough competitor Gabby.
Oh, okay. Now she was very controversial.
Right. So she's in TNA now under the ring name Raquel. Duke, what do you think the biggest story of the week is?
I got nothing. I don't know. I don't know.
Nothing. Del Rio winning the title, or
no? I know you've got something bigger than that to tell me.
I've got something huge.
All right, what you got? What you got?
Deonna Purrazzo
from NXT.
No, from NXT. Come on, she's the first person to get eliminated in a battle royal style match on an NXT event and a TNA pay-per-view in the same week.
Oh, really?
She was part of the one night only Knockouts Gauntlet match, and she was eliminated from the ring by, I think, Awesome Kong or somebody. I think Awesome Kong eliminated her, but yeah.
Is that why she had to remind everyone on NXT that
Women's Elite 8 winner? What was that? Is that why what?
I said, is that why she had to remind everyone on NXT that she was the one that Asuka knocked out?
I said to my dad, known
as the one, the woman that Asuka knocked out.
I said to my dad, "Hey, I know her. That's the one Asuka kicked in the face."
Well, there you go. You did
she
remember
wears all the
her
Ferrari, like the Ferrari symbol on her tights, so she's very like noticeable. But and in 2 days, she's going to be about 1.5 miles from my house in Center Reach, New York, for Victory Pro Wrestling.
Okay, so she's very indie then. Okay.
Yeah, she's very indie. She's going to be, she was ECWA, East Coast Wrestling Association, and they wrestle out of Newark, Delaware. Not Newark, Newark, Delaware.
Right.
And they do the Elite Eights every year, and they finally had a female one, and she was the winner of that.
Oh, okay, cool.
So Victory Pro Wrestling, the wrestling training school that puts no one in the WWE.
Oh.
as
Oh.
opposed to New York Wrestling Connection. So we'll just there's still a bit of rival there, even though I'm not part of the deal anymore. So whatever, good for her. She has a booking. But as for the kids that go to Victory Pro Wrestling, I feel bad for them. But that's really all I have for news and notes. So you want to talk about TNA One Night Only with me for a little bit?
Yeah, I will. I will let you talk about it, and I will throw in random snarky comments because,
Yeah.
unfortunately, I have not watched it yet. But I will. I am going. That is my GnWC New Year's resolution to actually watch other promotions.
There you go.
It's not
Stop drinking the Kool-Aid. Stop
well,
drinking the lime Kool-Aid and pretending it's not still WWE when you're considering NXT. But here's the thing on One Night Only pay-per-views for those who don't know. TNA has stopped doing monthly live pay-per-views. In its place, they tape a series of One Night Only specials, as they're called. And they could be anything from like a knockouts tournament to like one night only returning TNA stars, and they bring in stars from the past and stuff like that to wrestle. They can be very gimmicky, but they're taped in advance, and they're to fulfill a contractual obligation for like overseas markets where they promise 12 special events a year and stuff like that. So that's why they tape these and they put them out there on pay-per-view still, because through various contracts they're still obligated to do them. So they can be somewhat non-canon if you're talking like comic book style, like,
right.
things or whatever, where like nothing really happens
They're
in them.
the uncanny X-Men.
Right. Storylines can contribute to them, but you don't come away from it with story involved, like it's stuff like that. It's just they're just matches to have matches. They're safe shows, stuff like that. A lot of the times I like them because they bring in fresh faces, new faces. For a guy who went to a lot of independent wrestling shows in his life, sometimes you see people there on this show that you're just like, whoa, I can't believe he's in TNA, stuff like that, even if it's for, like I say, one night only. But that was their pay-per-view. I mean, the main event was Beer Money reunited, James Storm, Bobby Roode. They beat Eric Young and Bram. The Wolves, Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards, retained their tag team championships by beating Kurt Angle and Drew Galloway and Eli Drake and Jesse Goddards in a three-way, triple threat tag team match for the titles. Interesting enough, out of that, Angle's doing this farewell tour, and he's claimed that Drew Galloway, formerly Drew McIntyre of the WWE, is the chosen one. He's passing the torch on to him. He's going to be the face of the company. But Angle also mentioned the Wolves, Eddie Edwards and Davey Richards, in the speech. So it seems like Angle's passing the torch to the three of the guys, and he's going to give them a little bit of a rub on his way out, a little bit of a, again, passing the torch. I can't say that enough. That's exactly what it is. To win the match.
And totally appropriate for an Olympic hero.
Yeah, well, there you go. Especially one that was in Atlanta.
Exactly.
Well, I don't know why that made sense, because there's a torch in every Olympics. But I just saw the logo in my head.
I just rolled with it, but you're killing.
I saw
you're burying
the logo
yourself
in my
here.
head, and I saw the logo, and I'm just like, they had a torch. Yeah, cool. So it's definitely cool. But Davey Richards won the match with an ankle lock.
Oh,
after the match, Angle looked to be a little bit upset about it.
Interesting.
But sure, storyline only, but still, making him win with the ankle lock, and then showing Kurt Angle have disdain because of it, but still shake his hand at the end of it. So that actually could go somewhere. And it was live this week, because that's when everyone was in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, to do tapings and stuff for TV. So it was interesting. It was a good show, and anyone who hasn't watched TNA in a long time, you should give it another chance. Especially, now that it's a new year, a new network on Pop TV and stuff like that. They are doing good things. They have good wrestlers, and it looks like they're gonna stop doing stupid stuff going forward. But I can't really say that after only 2 shows. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, case in point, for the first match of One Night Only, it was a 4-way X Division match, and X Division is my, like, it's just everything that's wrong with TNA can be summed up in the X Division. Here's why. 4-way match, right? Tigre Uno is the X Division champion. He's like a ripoff Black Tiger, and he calls himself
Okay.
Tigre Uno. Like, there's
Okay.
no Queen Elizabeth I.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's like, so he's Tiger 1. So I don't understand that, but okay, fine, whatever. Then there's Mandrews, who came to the ring in a skateboard. DJZ, who was a DJ, he had headphones. And then the other guy was Crazy Steve. He's a clown, and he honks a horn.
So this is literally the character era of WWE, is what you're telling
But
me.
only within like that
But
match.
only the X Division.
Only the X Division,
That is
only
so
within
odd.
that match.
That is so
It is.
odd.
Yeah, but and
Like,
everything else
Here's
is
our most athletic guys that do the craziest stuff that people will
Yeah.
really, really pop for. Let's give them stupid character gimmicks.
But let's not take this division as it was, as it is now. Like let's not compare it to what it was. What you described is what the division was. Petey Williams, Frankie Kazarian, Sabin, Shelley, Daniels, Samoa Joe. Kazarian. I can name all these names off the top of my head because it was so good. Michael Shane is another one. Amazing Red. It was so good and compelling back then. Now it's just like a shell of its former self. But the rest of the card, though, see, it's like a big flip-flop. The rest of the card, though, they have solid wrestlers. And I think they're finally starting to put them together. Non-storyline, no stupid gimmicks, no stupid stables. And everything is like on the level right now. But who knows what's going to happen down the line. But it's definitely worth checking out if you haven't checked it out lately. But bringing something to the forefront that most people do know about, the Divas Revolution, right?
Right?
We love it. We hate it.
Right.
Let's revisit it, maybe.
Okay, let's go.
So I think it's best described the way you want to talk about it.
Okay.
NXT versus WWE. NXT women versus WWE divas. Because we've seen people cross that boundary and seen what they've become and what they've accomplished and what they do week to week. Now, this week we had an NXT Battle Royal for the number one contender to face Bayley at, I guess, the next TV tapings. I don't really even know when that match is going to happen. Carmelo won the Battle Royal, and let's not talk about the match right now, but let's switch to the WWE side and see what we have going on, which is pretty much just Charlotte versus Becky Lynch, and everybody else is just Alicia Fox and Brie Bella, and they're only in the way. You know what I mean?
And that's it.
That's it. So, talking about the WWE side, what do you like and what do you don't like about what they're doing right now?
Okay, so here's what I like, and I sent this to you on Twitter, and this is what kind of started this whole conversation for us. What I like is how people are playing the roles that they're in, because the roles that how the two people that actually have roles right now, they're playing their roles fairly well. On the whole, Becky is playing her role in the angle fantastically. I think she's playing it really, really well. She is the, quote unquote last kicker, as she says, and she's playing up that part really well. She got frustrated with what was going on with Flair. She got, not with Charlotte, with Flair, and then she got frustrated with Charlotte, and then Charlotte finally took it too far, and then she retaliated on her, and now she's showing that she's dominant anytime she steps in the ring with Brie Bella, which is the only other person she ever steps in the ring with.
Yeah.
Not her fault.
She's the only other person in Divas division right now.
Yeah, really. Apparently, Alicia Fox is injured too, because all she does is walk to the ring. Alicia Fox is her
manager. Yeah.
Yeah, because all she does is walk to the ring. So, so there are essentially 3 women's wrestlers in the WWE Divas division right now, and of those 3, the one who is playing her role to a T is Becky Lynch, and I'm excited about it because I want to see Becky Lynch go far, but how far are you really going when there's only 3 people? Again, that's not her fault. But in her role, she's doing really well, so that's the good. The bad is the biggest heel diva in all of WWE right now is Ric Flair, not Charlotte. Is not Charlotte. It's Ric Flair.
It's Ric Flair.
And,
He's the biggest heel diva in the WWE.
And you said that earlier tonight, and you think I'm stealing that from you, but it's not the first time I've heard it. It's not the first time, and it's not even the first time I've thought it or said it. And so it's just like, it's ridiculous that
he was brought in to put Charlotte over because
as a heel,
whoever is in charge thinks Charlotte couldn't get over on herself, and Rick's a legend, so they're going to push Charlotte to success through Rick, but Rick's doing everything to take the focus away from the match because, listen, they're making Rick play the Rick part, and that's fine.
Right.
But it's stealing the spotlight away from people who've been established and have made a name for themselves based on their in-ring work.
Right.
Now you're negating their in-ring work to say, okay, well, this is the big leagues. You need a big-time name with you. It happens to be your dad. So we're going to make him cause the drama between everything, and we're not going to let you tell the story in the ring with your wrestling.
Right, right. And that's the very, very, very bad is that, and it's just, it's not rocket science. I mean, it's not rocket science. It's just, you do wrestling how wrestling's always been done, and you have people who can perform better than a lot of the guys on the roster.
Yeah, the one problem in the thing you said, though, do everything the way it's always been done. This is the Divas division. That is the way it's always been done.
But what I'm saying is, from a traditional wrestling standpoint, you do it the way wrestling has always been done, not the way divas have been done. And so,
I think they gave them the chance, and they felt the crowd wasn't into it, but giving them the chance was throwing 9 people in the ring at the same time and having the match last 25 minutes and the crowd turning on the match. Well, the giving them a chance has never been a one-on-one clean match for 12 to 15 minutes. Has not been.
Well, and it's also, you're exactly right, but part of the crowd turning on them is you won't ever put Sasha in the ring for a legitimate match, and the crowd keeps chanting, "We want Sasha, we want Sasha." The only time they put Sasha in the ring is for some kind of gimmick, or they make her part of this heel faction. They won't just put her in the ring.
Or they put her in the front row and take attention away from the match. Like,
right, exactly.
What's the purpose of the Diva division right now if you had Team Bad ringside drawing tension away from the match and you're really only focusing on 2 people anyway? Like, now we're just like, we're doing 2 polar opposites. We're focusing the division on 2 people who may have an occasional match with someone else outside that circle. And at the same time, we're trying to cram everyone we can in the match. It's like bipolar.
Yeah.
The way they book this division. It's like you have it's like you're collaborating on a project with people in India and people in Australia. And you keep sending the project back and forth so it can be worked on 24 hours a day. Well, one person's writing one script, another person's writing another script, and the third person's writing a third script. And it just seems like they're rotating themselves on TV that way. This week, it's 2 wrestlers involved in the feud. 2 weeks ago, it was like everyone involved in the feud. And who knows what the next script's going to say? It's going to be all of a sudden like, Naomi's back in the picture.
Well, and here's what's frustrating. Here's what's frustrating about the whole, having to have factions involved, and you can only have a heel if they're part of a faction, which is kind of becoming a theme in WWE right now, which is really strange. You can't just have someone just be a heel. They have to be part of some sort of faction. Owens is sort of an exception, but they always try to put him in some sort of tag team or some sort of weird thing.
Yeah.
It's just like he's the anomaly that they keep trying to push into that mold, but for some reason,
it doesn't stick.
Some reason he's getting out of it, which is great. I mean, that's great. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Thank goodness that's happening. But that's happening all over WWE. You can only be in a heel if you're in a faction, or you can only be a heel if you're in a heel faction, and it's no more evident than in the Divas division. And what I was originally trying to get at just now was that you had something interesting happening with Natalya coming back, and I guess she got injured again, right? And had to have surgery.
Did she? Because I didn't know that. Because on my notes is Natalya gone again after push.
She had to have some sort of shoulder surgery or something.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I saw something the other day because it was just like now they're having to rehab together. She and
Okay,
Tyson.
her and
So
okay.
yeah,
So maybe that's why she disappeared. And sometimes when that happens, it's their opponents disappear. Her opponent disappears
right.
as well. So maybe that's why we're not seeing Team Bad and Sasha too much anymore.
What
Maybe that's why they were doing this
exactly?
on the sideline thing and
Which
taking
was
this.
what was that was so promising though, because Natalia could really bring out. I mean, you could really bring out a fantastic wrestling match between
Yeah.
Sasha and Natalia. I mean, come on.
And I
That
think a
would have
lot
been
of
so
WWE
good.
fans who don't know the NXT work of the other girls, I think a lot of WWE fans recognize and respect Natalia as a
Right.
wrestler, not as a diva. So I think that could have really helped in a lot of ways turn those fans that were just like, who the hell are
Yeah.
these
So
people? You know?
so it seems like they had some sort of plan that was
Yeah.
brewing, and then you've got, you know, like, you think it's bad on the male side of the roster when people get hurt or people go on vacation. Well, on the female side of the roster, when there's only 9 women that are actually part of the entire roster, and then you have Summer Rae, who's like everybody's girlfriend. So 10 women total.
11, I think. Then with counting Nikki Bella, because three,
Yeah,
three,
no,
and
I'm
three, and
counting
then
333 plus Summer. Those are your
and
wrestlers.
Natalia.
And Natalia.
So
Okay, so 10.
yeah.
Or so 11. You're right. So
Can we count Rosa Mendez as like
no, we
one
can't. We
one and a
can't
half,
count
two
Rosa. We can't.
total?
We
No.
can't. No. So 11. So you've
Can I
got.
rehire
So now
Oksana and
you
count
got
her?
one that goes on vacation and is injured. You got one that comes back, gets injured. You've
Right.
got another one that's injured now. The one, and then you've got a faction that for some reason existed that basically gets put out because who they were feuding with is now injured. So what does that bring you down? So it's 1, 2, then 3 more. So that's 5. So 11 minus 5, you're at 6. Summer Rae never actually wrestles, even though she's a pretty good in-ring talent. So now you're down to 5. And what do we got left? So who are the 2 that we're not talking about? Alicia Fox never wrestles.
Fox.
So now we're down to 4. So who's the 4th one?
I don't know. I think you miscounted
I may have counted something twice.
because it's really just Brie Bella versus Charlotte, or
it's
Brie
Brie-
Bella versus Becky,
yeah,
or Becky
Brie,
Page is the
Charlotte,
other one
Becky.
you're talking about.
Those are the only 3 that are in the ring. So
Yeah.
I miscounted something, but
Yeah.
But yeah, but it's just basic math. When you only start with 11, and you put them all in factions, so the factions have to face each other or whatever you're doing, or one person has to face an entire faction like that you did with Natalia, then what do you do when there's injuries? You basically, I mean, we're down to pretty much all they can do at the moment because of how they scripted it out or whatever. And
Right.
so,
And we're also at a point in time in the TV where the Divas Revolution seems to be like dead, even though they still bring it up. And we're back to one Diva segment per Monday Night Raw or SmackDown.
right.
And if you have one segment, you have the champion. So now a lot of these girls who had the time a few months ago and then were stuck in 6 Diva tag team matches and stuff like that, even if they were healthy, and some of them are healthy, you could repair them. You can do something.
Right.
They're not around anymore.
Well, and I went through that whole rant.
The segments. I'm sorry, the segments, not the wrestlers.
Yeah.
The segments are not around for them.
Yeah,
anymore.
I get what you mean. But I went through that whole rant to say something and never actually said it. All in all, what I was trying to get at is ultimately the crowd responded that way when they were on TV more or in the ring more, because you've conditioned the crowd to respond that way by having a total roster of 11, and they barely do anything before now besides bra and panties matches, and that's what you condition them for. And now that you can't do that, well, then what are they there for? Is basically what you've communicated to the audience.
Right. Exactly. So let's that's the
WWE side of things.
WWE side. So let me talk about the NXT side real quick here.
Sure. Yeah.
We had a female battle royal match on the latest episode of NXT TV from the 13th of January, which was Wednesday. In that match, I have a gripe about the match too, and I'll toss that on the aside later on. In that match, you had about 12, 13 competitors. I'm just I'm just throwing out a number, about that much. You had 2 false finishes, and Duke, those were perfectly executed. To start the battle royal, Asuka kicks Eva Marie in the head. She hits the ring and rolls out of the ring. Now, if you're a smart wrestling fan, you realize that she didn't go over the top rope. She's still around, and no matter what the commentators say, you know she's still in the match. Like, you're expecting that.
Right.
So then they have their regular match, and people are getting thrown over the rope or whatever, and it comes down to the Australian girls, Peyton Royce and Billie Kay, and
Emma.
Asuka.
Well, and Emma at first.
Well, Emma's already out. Emma was already out. It's just the 2 girls and
well, I was just saying, they really did focus in on the 3
Right.
Aussie girls
Right.
all at once, which was
Right.
cool. I thought that was a cool story point. Anyway, go ahead.
Right. So Asuka finally throws the 2 Australian girls over the rope, and then runs and does the butt bounce into them while they're on the ring apron because they saved themselves and they get knocked out. So Asuka thinks she's the last person in the ring. She raises her hand. Eva Marie comes in the ring, throws Asuka out. The crowd goes nuts. They're electrically pissed off. It's the best way to put it. But what I failed to mention is they also had a spot where Carmella got hurt and rolled out of the ring. So now Carmella comes into the ring and throws out Eva Marie, and the crowd goes nuts again.
Huge pop.
That right there, activating the audience. In one single match, in a battle royal, in a joke match that no one really ever really cares about. You just put more story and more emotion into that match.
Thank you.
Than anything WWE has done since they branded the Divas Revolution. It had everything. The fans were electric. They were pissed. They were rooting for people. And then they were happy at the end. And then Bayley hits the ring to congratulate her best friend, who she now has to fight. And they hugged. And the place was just beaming with excitement.
Yeah, everyone goes home happy. So
right. Or they sit in their seats and they watch 2 more weeks of TV tapings.
Well,
but whatever. I don't know how it lined up.
I was happy at home. How about that?
Does it not, like, listen, you're a fan, you saw Eva Marie go out of the ring, and let me put it this way. To get in your head, you went, oh no, they're gonna make her win this. She's gonna win this. She's gonna come in at the end when you think everyone knows who the winner is, and she's gonna throw the person out.
Well, I feel like the announcers sort of saved that, in that, and this may be your gripe, they actually reminded us of Carmella before we ever saw Eva Marie again.
They only reminded you of Carmella. They never reminded you of Eva Marie.
That's true. They only reminded us of Carmella, but they did remind us of Carmella, and you didn't see her, so it's just like, well, they said something about Carmella. Are they going to Curtis Axel this? That's
so, like,
that's how I will always call it, or that's how I'm always going to say it from now on.
The announcers tried their best to distract you with, at the same time saying, like, because the announcers doing that,
there was still like, hope.
Oh crap! They didn't say Eva Marie.
Yeah.
Oh no! Like, it's gonna happen.
True.
It's like unless it was Santino under the ring coming in and getting thrown out anyway, or Rusev coming in and getting thrown out anyway by Roman Reigns. You know what I mean? It's like, oh crap. But I'm like, they can't do this. They can't do it. And then they did it. And then it's like, okay, well, yeah, Carmella's still there. She'll do it. Oh, please don't, like, do the swerve. Don't, like, triple swerve me, please.
Yeah, please don't.
But listen, I am, like, a smart wrestling fan. I don't get excited about too much. And that had my rooting interest. Like nothing else before, or nothing else in a long time.
I will take exception to that on a personal level on my end, because
well, I'm not talking about Stephen and Mel. I mean, stuff like that, but
that's not what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
I will say, I jumped up out of my seat and was like lucha-ing on Monday night. That was a pleasant surprise.
Okay.
I kind of called it. I kind of called it on Twitter, but that was a very, very pleasant surprise. Now, to see that they sort of turned it around on SmackDown, Sorry if you didn't watch SmackDown. That's your fault. You'll find out next Monday. But
Snape killed Dumbledore.
yeah, Snape definitely killed Dumbledore. But they put it back on Del Rio, but they did it in a way that it sets up an interesting. This could be a feud that goes on into Royal Rumble, and we get to see the rubber match where I would see Callisto taking it again, and it being an amazing match because they'll have time for it.
They'll have time, and there'll be a pay-per-view style match instead of a TV style match with a commercial. But I dubbed the feud in the first match being like the modern day Eddie Guerrero Rey Mysterio feud.
Yeah, kind of like it's very close.
Kind of like
and
that.
They're even making references to it, so it's very.
I had
close.
a rant that I never did. That was going to be like, I really feel like WWE's pushing Callisto too fast, too hard right now with the whole Cinderella story thing after winning one match in a tournament, and the whole pinning everyone, a slammy moment in the year and stuff. There was a rant involved with that. I was not happy he was getting the push, but based on that match with Del Rio on Raw, I enjoyed it. So I'm not mad about it.
But besides that, I will say, I was extremely happy with what they did with Carmella and just how well done it was, because you gotta hate Eva Marie, but man, she's doing really, really well in her role, and she's embracing that role. Like the whole air guitar, like the power air guitar thing that she did was just like, you were such a cheesy, annoying heel. Please, someone throw you out of the. Oh, someone's going to throw you out of the ring. You know,
please don't. Sorry, we got the double swerve. Don't triple swerve the double swerve.
It's just that's so old school though, which is so NXT. But
if we're gonna give her props though, let's also give her props for the way she came out to the ring. Yeah, the way she disrobed, and then Asuka's music played, and then the look on her face when it happened, and she was just kind of like the wind was kept out of her, taken from her sail, and then she just kind of slowly started walking to the ring, like not in character anymore, and then Asuka bumped her. Like, I thought that was awesome. Like, that was great. Yeah, it's just like
I mean, there were so many.
She got shown up, she got humbled, she got kicked in the face.
Yep.
And then she had a moment at the end of the match, and I think she did very well. And that's how you have to book her, because her wrestling is not good.
Yeah.
So
but see, that just goes to show though, like, you can have someone. So just real brief trip back on Divas Revolution on the main roster. That just goes to show you don't have to have all the best in-ring talent to tell a I use fantastic so much right now, to tell a really, really compelling story. They told an extremely compelling story with NXT with someone who didn't kick out of a 2 count just a month and a half ago or 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And essentially was taken off TV for another month because of it, So it's like this is someone who, is like, the poster child for Botchamania. Shout out to Matthew. But the poster child from Botchamania, and they're still finding just ingenious ways to employ her character because they know you're going to hate the fact that she's in the match in the first place.
Right. She has legit heat, and they're using it for wrestling. And they're using it in a good way. They're not using it in, I want to say, Vicky Guerrero way. But now that I'm 38 years old and not 32 years old anymore, like, I'm not going to hate on Vicky Guerrero. I think she was good for her role. But back then, it was like, she has legit heat. She has no business being on TV.
Right.
But now that I can do it in retrospect,
guess what?
it'd be like, man, she got the crowd pissed and she did good.
Yeah.
That's kind of like, hopefully I'll get there on Eva Marie, or maybe she'll just get future endeavored because she never works out, and then we'll never suffer through. I just don't want to suffer through bad matches, and bad matches that happen because they want to push her so hard.
Right.
I don't think we'll get that in NXT. Because corporate
wants to push her that hard.
What's that? Yeah, I don't think we'll get that in NXT, but ultimately someone owns the company that may want that, and it may happen on Raw, but let's not go for that rant. But let me give one negative towards that match.
What was your harsh?
we had all those intros from all those girls beforehand: Deonna Purrazzo, Peyton Royce, Billie Kay, Liv Morgan, Liv Morgan.
Liv Morgan.
And by the way, Liv Morgan in that match picking up whoever she picked up, was that Alexa Bliss when she tried the power bomber to the outside? Oh no, it was Cameron. When she straight up picked Cameron up in a power bomb and looked like she was going to throw Cameron right outside the ring. Holy crap, was that it might have been botched a little bit and they did it a second time, but holy crap, did that whole picking up motion in the power bomb look legit.
Yeah, she's tough. She's tough. Like when I saw her match a month ago or whenever it was, when she was, it wasn't Asuka, it was somebody else, but I think it was Eva Marie. Her match, like, she was good. She was like, I'm like, where did she come
All the
from?
girls love her. Like, before I even seen her on TV, I think she was Gianna or I don't remember her name, Gianna Daddio. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I remember it was like a Italian, like it was weird.
Very,
like,
very
Twitter
Italian.
was Who's Your Daddio? Like, what's her Twitter? So I'm just going to pronounce her last name like Daddio, but I don't remember what her name was, or her real name, or what past ring name was. But it was, but back then when she wasn't even on TV at all the girls were just like, this girl's the best. This girl's the best. This girl's the best training partner.
Yeah, I'm
like,
really excited to see more from her.
But if she has a legit power bomb in her moveset, how many women have that? And she looks like she's rail thin, like 110 pounds. You know what I mean? That's probably an insult for somebody her side. But
like the match she was in, she showed a lot of strength, like actual strength.
Right. So that impressed me about that battle royal as well. But the thing that gets me is you had all those announcements for all those girls, and then you come to live TV and you only get 6 girls coming to the ring with a ring entrance. So, I mean, off the top of your head, it's coming down to those 6. Like, it didn't in a way, but none of the other girls had a chance because of it. So Carmella won. She had a ring entrance. She threw out Eva Marie, who had a ring entrance. She threw out Asuka, who had a ring entrance. The Australians did not have a ring entrance, but Emma and Alexa Bliss did. So right away, I mean, as a fan, you probably know they have no chance. I get what you're saying.
You're seeing they're showing who the JV girls are, and that's kind of it.
Right. They're basically saying
kind
these
of
are
already
only 6
telling
girls.
you. It's
right.
kind of
these
already
are only 6 girls we're caring
right,
about.
Right.
So since it came down to Asuka and the two Australians, I'm going to call them. We're not going to call Emma an Australian. She's a veteran. So you knew they had no chance to throw Asuka out, even though you knew Eva Marie and Carmella in there. And they did this also when Apollo Crews won the Battle Royal.
Right.
They only brought in the top guys, and everyone else, your Solomon Crows, your Mojo Rawleys, even if he was in that match, or your Bull Dempsey's, they were already in the ring.
Right. Yeah, I got you.
But they only brought out the AT. I don't like that. If you're gonna have them on TV, don't treat them like the jobber that's already in the ring. They're NXT contracted people, students, whatever you want to call them.
Well, they're people you've given a name, and
Why don't you just
play? They actually have a unique look now. All the ladies do, at least, and so
just play the music, play generic music. Have them all come down to the ring one after the other. Announce them all. Get them in the ring. Announce them in an order where you're still putting the better people at the end, obviously, but just give them all their credit, and not just say like, oh, we're just going to announce them before the match. Give them the time then and whatever. But
yeah, I got you.
And the last thing is, I think Noof is terrible. Like, I think I think she's terrible.
Yeah,
her little segment was bad.
I'm really surprised I'm really surprised after breaking ground to even see her already, especially since there's probably other ladies that could have been out there, especially since you bumped Nia Jax. Like, I assume that maybe she's
Athena
injured or something like that, but
I don't know. Maybe they just kept her off storyline to really sell Bayley, like Bayley's guillotine choke that really affected her. You know what I mean?
Well, I think they're trying to
make her look strong.
I think they're also trying to show some discord between. They're trying to show Eva stabbing her in the back is
right after 1 week of being together.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're just showing Eva Marie being a true villain that can't make friends with anybody.
But I'm surprised Athena hasn't made TV yet.
Yeah,
and she's established in the indie. indies.
Maybe that's why. Maybe they want to give her a proper entrance. Who knows?
Maybe, but but I guess so. But this is like the kind of match where you think they would have done it, but because she's already established, like Apollo Crews was, and it probably wouldn't take her long to get in the ring. She doesn't have to be trained from the ground up like a lot of other people do. But that's that's our divas revisited. NXT is doing everything on a 5-star level when it comes to the divas, even matches that don't involve the champion. And then you have
Yeah,
the
even
WWE.
matches that people would normally consider throwaway. You put
Yeah,
that much emotion and that much thought into it.
yeah, because they have at least 2 matches now every Wednesday. That
Yeah,
except for the Battle Royal one, but there's at least 2 matches every Wednesday of
yeah,
women,
yeah,
and not even the champion involved.
yeah. They
Not even
take
the
it seriously.
champion's
They take it
next
seriously.
competitor involved. It's just
They take
matches,
it
and they're good.
seriously, and so do the fans. Imagine
Yeah,
that.
yeah. It's its own. They're letting the wrestlers' talents and, in a sense, win-loss record on the storyline dictate the storyline instead of, oh, you're my friend, you stabbed me in the back, we're gonna fight. You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Yep.
And there's the soap opera part of the world, the cartoon wrestling world, and
Sure.
then there's the legit world. And that's why, like, you really can't compare them too much because most fans don't go for both of them at the same time. You know what I mean? It's weird.
Yeah,
But
I got you.
it's why NXT people filling an arena for WrestleMania wouldn't be the greatest pay-per-view ever, because 100,000 people in Dallas probably would not be hot for it.
Yeah.
Maybe
Well,
not. Maybe you
maybe.
get 110,000 people who go
Maybe.
there for it. But if you get the regular wrestling fans, it's debatable. But
Yeah.
but
Now,
but certainly,
one other thing that was cool
yeah.
about NXT this week was so we pretty much got through what we need to with the ladies, right?
Transition. Who paid you to do the transition this week?
Well, there was something else I was going to mention.
Go ahead.
But
Go ahead. It's on the list. Go
you know
ahead.
what? Well, I realized that I was about to go out of order, so I'll mention my little thing.
No,
just
it's
a
in order.
second.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I'll mention it now, and then it can transition. It can be like a pre-transition. But I thought it was cool to hear Tom Phillips back. I
Yeah.
gotta be honest. Like Tom Phillips, Corey Graves, fantastic duo.
Did you
NXT.
mention Tom Phillips?
That's what I just said. Tom Phillips.
Duke, speaking of Tom Phillips, did you notice on NXT this week that Tom Phillips was back and they got rid of Byron Sexton?
That's what I just said.
Oh no, I transitioned from your transition. I double swapped.
I see. I'll catch up eventually. But yeah, I thought they were great. I thought they were great.
They were pretty good.
Tom Phillips is just like he's like your white meat baby face, as Stone Cold would say about JR, but he's like you're straight laced, can call it really well type guy, pays attention to what's going on. He's dialed into everyone's story, so which you expect all the announcers to be, but sometimes it seems like people are just lost and they're just kind of reading off a card. And
they're only promoting the main event of any given month.
Exactly. But Tom Phillips never sounds that way. He always knows what's going on.
I actually got scared that Tom Phillips was never going to be seen again. and this, like, it wasn't a bad feeling, but it was a thought in my head. It was a legitimate thought in my head. I'm like, oh man, I wonder if Tom Phillips is even going to have a job in a few months, because it was the whole Mauro Ranallo thing. Like,
right.
Tom Phillips and Rich Brennan, man, are they going to be victims like of a future endeavoring soon? And then like here comes NXT and it's Tom Phillips and Corey Graves, and I'm like, oh well, okay. And Rich Brennan was backstage, and then there was another guy who looked like Rich Brennan's twin brother, who also did an interview. I think it was 2 different guys backstage. They both look like Rich Brennan.
There is actually a guy that looks a lot like Rich. Yeah, I thought that was weird the first time I saw it. I'm like, why do they have a guy? Like, why don't they make him like do something different with his hair, or like not wear glasses or something, or wear I don't know.
They
like,
interviewed on opposite sides of the wrestler, though. Did you notice that Rich Brennan was on the right and this dude was on the left?
That's funny. He's well, no. See, it's like the what is it? Comcast commercials. One of them is or DirecTV, whatever it is.
This is Rich Brennan. I have DirecTV. I'm Rich Brennan, and I have cable.
Well, this is Rich Brennan on the right. This is Rich Brennan on the left.
Yeah. So yeah, they just do something different.
But you are right. But yeah, it was great hearing. It was great having Tom Phillips back.
Right.
And great having him next to Corey, because I think they have really, really good chemistry.
They did good, and Corey didn't play full heel either.
No. Which
which
that's
was good.
okay. That's
No,
okay.
no, it was good. It was refreshing. He didn't have to bicker back and forth with Byron Sexton. He just kind of disagreed sometimes with Tom Phillips and sometimes agreed with him. And I thought, like, just like, well, yeah, it's a bad segue, but just like with SmackDown, we'll talk about that in a moment.
Yeah,
You didn't notice.
that was the thing
You
that
didn't,
I thought I was jumping the gun on, but we'll get there in a
I just
second.
realized why you
Yeah,
thought it was jumping
yeah,
the gun.
yeah.
You didn't. You didn't realize why you were liking what you liked until after it was over, and then you're just like, "Wow, I really enjoyed that
Right,
because of the announcers."
right.
So let's finish up on NXT here real quick
Yeah, real
because
quick.
Raw really
We'll be
didn't have
fast.
anything going for it too much this week. A continuation on the storyline of Roman Reigns versus everyone. They brought 30 wrestlers or 29 wrestlers or 28 wrestlers ringside. I don't know if anybody ever counted them all. I didn't look for a list, but it looked
No,
legit.
they only brought the heels ringside for the main event.
No, but on the ramp to start the show, you didn't see
Sure,
that. You
sure,
said
sure, sure.
they had everybody. They had everybody who you're going to believe was in the Royal Rumble.
I still
If they don't,
maintain that they
yeah,
will have surprises,
and that's fine.
and that was
That's fine.
just they were just
But I'm
placeholders.
the way I'm saying it is because
I know,
it doesn't look like you're getting Booker T in the match. It doesn't
right?
look like you're getting Michael Cole in the match. Drew Carey, Pete Rose, those guys.
Yeah, I got you.
Legends and like
And
quirky
celebs,
surprises, and that's part of the reason why I like the Royal Rumble to begin with. Because once that thing rang, you didn't know if it was going to be Randy Orton, coming back from injury. You didn't know if it was going to be Neville. You didn't know if it was going to be Steve Blackman. You never knew who was going to come out in a Royal Rumble because they really never really put the lists out there. Bubba Ray Dudley last year, Diesel a few years before that, Diamond Dallas Page. These guys pop the crowd when they come out. They're legends. And it's fun. They get in the ring, they do a few spots, they get thrown out. It's fun. That fun looks like it's being taken away, and that's one of the many issues I have with that. For more issues, you can listen to our weekly show from last week where we
yep.
dissected a little bit and talk about what we're expecting this month for the pay-per-view. But regardless of that, nothing else was really going for that. Callisto won, Callisto lost on SmackDown, and that's it. But if we're talking about NXT,
Yep.
the
Back on
return of
NXT real
Sami
quick.
Zayn.
Where's it going story wise? I think is where you're going with this, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, where's it going storyline? Yeah, well, I guess where are we going with the title picture? It's going to be Sami Zayn versus Samoa Joe versus Baron Corbin. They're going to do this at the next TV taping, so it's not something we're going to see for the next week. It's going to be
2
in
weeks
2
away.
weeks.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think that's the first taping in that other building in Orlando. That's not Full Sail. They have another building
UCF,
they're doing tapings at.
Yeah, Central Florida. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so what are you expecting? Who are you expecting to emerge from this? And when do you think like the payoff is going to be to fight Finn Balor?
I don't know. Like it's one of those things where like with anyone else, I would say it's too soon for them to win, but man, Sami Zayn, I mean, God, he was right with his promo the other night that, he helped build NXT into what it is.
Yeah.
And I feel like, especially with what you saw of him on Breaking Ground, I feel like he's really jonesing to get back up to the main roster as fast
and
as possible.
I never really saw his match with John Cena as the jump to the main roster.
Right.
Because he was always still on NXT, but
which,
if that's
he
supposedly
even
an
said
unscripted
that.
show, well,
Yeah.
he didn't know if it was or wasn't, but felt like it was. And like he's the guy living his life. I'm shocked by that because I never saw it that way. But that could have been maybe that was the start of a bigger thing.
Yeah.
And then was going to lead to him and Owens in WWE,
which would be amazing. By the way.
Instead, they had to throw in that match in NXT on a limited basis. So, because of his shoulder, and just like kind of end the storyline while keeping the storyline alive that Owens hurt him.
Yeah, and it's not like Owens is going to come back down. So, I don't know. I feel like Sammy has to play his thing out, and I don't know that he's gonna. I mean, I know 2016 they're going, a lot of different directions with NXT, blah, blah, NXT. I always feel like half the time when I say NXT, I feel like I'm leaving some of the letters out, even though there's
Well, you
only
can say
three letters.
WWE like Vince McMahon and leave out
Yeah,
a W every single time.
yeah, WE
And a WE.
Yeah, but I always feel like I'm saying too many letters or something. But NXT, it just seems like they've got a lot of big plans, and I know that he's definitely part of them. But I feel like he's more of like a first quarter type guy. You know what I mean? Like
Oh yeah, yeah,
of the
absolutely.
year,
Absolutely.
where it's like his arc is done and he moves on to the main roster. But I don't know. You know, it's hard to say. It's hard for me to pick the winner here. Corbin is coming off a win. Joe is coming off a loss. A
And Zayn
vicious
is a
loss.
returning former
And
champion.
Zayn is a returning former champion
Yeah.
and would be your first 2-time champion if he gets in that picture and wins.
Can
So,
I throw my Vince Russo-esque prediction in here?
well, hang on. And then
Yeah.
there's also what you said last week in that Zayn could be part of the Bullet Club entrance. You know, could be he could be, you know, we could have our first screw job ending, but it lead to something extremely important in NXT where you basically have an invasion, and that's new to NXT. And how they handle it could model how you do invasions from that now
I
on,
have
like they've
the
modeled everything else. But
I
anyway, go
have
ahead.
the total confidence that NXT could pull off an invasion,
Oh,
but
yeah.
not with WWE, with like a rogue faction
Right,
from
exactly.
like a,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I feel like
So-
they can model this is how you do an invasion angle since
Yeah.
it's been botched so many times before.
so many times before.
You know, really the only legitimate invasion angle that's ever worked was NWO 1 when it was small.
Yeah.
But
Before everyone joined WWO because it was the only way you got TV time.
well, it's the only way you get TV time, and it's the only way you didn't get beat up by everybody. So.
Yeah. So right. Okay. So here's my prediction on the match. Not really Vince Russo-esque,
Sure.
but cheeky in itself. Your next live pay-per-view special is in March, right? Or March is when WrestleMania is, not April. I always get confused because it's always like the
I
last
think
days of
it's
March.
Yeah, I think it's the first weekend of April, and so yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So whenever
Oh yeah,
that
I think
next
NXT is actually on April Fool's Day. I think Takeover is actually on April 1st.
really, okay.
Yeah,
Let me
I'm
just
gonna look
pull
that
the
up. Hang
calendar
on.
here. April 1st is a Friday. Saturday is April 2nd. Sunday is
that
April
kind of makes
3rd.
sense actually that they do it on Friday.
Okay. Oh yeah, because the Hall of Fame is Saturday.
Right.
So I don't know. We'll have to look up I'll look up the date when you talk the next time. So
I'm looking
here's
it up
my
while you're talking.
here's my
Nah.
cheeky. Yeah. Let me use my Google. Here's the cheeky way to do it.
Okay.
The next special 4-way match: Zayn, Joe, Corbin, and Balor. Balor loses the title without losing. Debuts on Raw the next Monday, and that's his swan song in NXT. Whoever emerges as the champion is the new guy for a while, maybe transition. And I'm not too sure we ever see Finn Balor with Bullet Club. Or no, at this time, Bullet Club would probably be there if they're coming. They would probably be there.
Okay.
So
I'm going to counter that with. Go ahead.
Maybe
Go ahead.
Maybe the screw jobs force Regal to put all competitors in the match. Zayn, Joe, Corbin versus Balor. Every time we talk, you seem to turn Balor heel. So we don't even know if he's going to be heel. We don't know if Bullet Club's going to be heel.
Right.
We don't know if he's going to be aligned with the Bullet Club. Just because he was in the past doesn't mean he will be now. We don't know if the Bullet Club won't also contain
Just because he started it.
Samoa Joe and Danny Burch as well. You don't know.
I see a true emergence of Danny Burch this year. Seriously. No, I
do you?
don't.
Okay.
I really don't.
I've seen him. My dad goes, "Who the hell is this guy? We never seen him." I'm like, "Dad, we've seen this guy at least 12 times.
Yeah.
He's always been in the ring."
We see
when you
this
start.
guy minimum once a month. Minimum.
Right. And he was even around in 2013 being like the once a month jobber guy. So he's the consummate professional. But
he's
I say this all goes towards some sort of 4-way match in Texas for their next pay-per-view, for their next live special.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
But what
Even
I'm going
though,
to say
like,
is that
Yeah.
Balor either retains because of what you did with the screw job, or I don't know that he retains. How about that? But
What on
I
in
think
Dallas?
in Dallas, right? I see. Well, hang on. I don't know that he loses. If he loses, then yes, I would see him going. I would see him on Raw the next week. If he wins, I see Zayn back on Raw the next week. How about that? That's where I'm going with it.
Oh, that's
And
good. And it's not limited to one person or any
right,
people being
exactly.
on Raw the next week.
Yeah,
It's just I feel like it's only based on Neville debuting last year after he losing the
yeah.
title and then going like the Monday Raw after WrestleMania. I only feel like that's like the most perfect place to put people when they debut. Tyler Breeze didn't have to wait that long. He debuted when he debuted.
Well,
So,
I mean,
but he wasn't champion.
Owens wasn't immediately after either. So
Right, he wasn't immediately after either. So it's a perfect place for someone to go. So I think like the next person who goes to the main roster, it's that time. And if it's the champion, then it's the perfect opportunity to drop a title and then be on Raw the next time. So
yeah.
it's interesting. It's weird. Maybe Joe
We
doesn't get the rematch.
yeah.
All signs point Zayn, but then again, they're going to give Corbin a shot somewhere.
Yeah,
And with
absolutely.
Balor still being face, if he ever turns heel, remains to be the same. Maybe Corbin wins. Balor beats Corbin this time, and then Bullet Club gets involved somewhere, and that forces a match between Zayn and Balor at that special. I think that's really the only logical way to go.
Well, I just think they've got a lot more left in Balor for this year. That he's a very integral,
Yeah.
however you want to say it,
And I think he sees the
part
way
of
yeah.
2016 NXT.
I think he
2016.
sees the way Bo Dallas is being used and the way Tyler Breeze is being used, and he's just like,
well, I mean, Bo Dallas,
maybe I'll stay here. I'm
Neville.
making enough money. Like I have
Yeah.
a better contract than most of the guys in NXT. Why don't I just stay here?
Well, I mean, Bo Dallas and Neville, both former NXT champions who had great story around their championships, and one has been treated as a joke, and the other
Been pushed through the roof.
What's that?
I said he's been practically pushed through the roof without a title.
Who, Neville?
Neville.
I mean, yeah, but is he? I mean,
every time he comes out, they oversell him. Like with the
that's
comic
true.
books. You know what I mean?
True.
He's the most pushed guy in the WWE who doesn't have or never had a title, basically.
All right, that's fair. All right, we'll move on.
Well, keeping the tradition of naming former NXT champions and what they're doing and not doing. Did you know? I didn't even notice this until like 10 minutes ago when we were talking about stuff. New Day wasn't on SmackDown. Did I miss it? I mean, I did go to the bathroom.
No, they weren't, because
not even one single mention or clip of them either.
Because I think it's because everything that happened had a compelling story to it, and they told the story really well.
Yeah.
They being this new announced team on SmackDown, anchored by Mauro Ranallo.
Speaking of new announced team on SmackDown, Duke, last week was the debut of
You
Mauro
need to learn
Ranallo.
what a segue is. I'm softballing this for you.
Last week, Mauro Ranallo
laying out and
last week Mauro Ranallo. I don't know if you know this, debuted on SmackDown as their new announcer, and he was joined by Byron Saxton and a heel, Jerry Lawler.
Yeah.
How do we like that?
Oh, we love it because it works and it's organic, and I told you earlier that I just happened to listen to Stone Cold's podcast with JR from right before Thanksgiving today while I was doing a walk, and he was talking about how Jerry has always been a really good heel announcer and not, the babyface who had a heart attack on the air announcer. And so now he's just kind of the old grandpa sitting in the corner making stupid jokes. Well, now he's making stupid jokes to make fun of people, and it works. It's getting over because he's a great heel announcer, and now he actually has someone to play off of, because that person in Mauro Ranallo is calling what's happening in the ring. He's
Hey, he's
naming
fantastic.
moves.
To steal a line from you.
What's that?
I said he's fantastic.
He's
to steal a line from you.
There you go.
He calls moves, and this is what we actually talked about this for at least 20 minutes before we started recording, and it's probably going to be the same 20 minutes. Hopefully not.
No,
we're talking about it now.
we talked about NXT forever. So.
Right. The whole point of Mauro Ranallo being good and why we notice it is because we can both say that, hey, SmackDown was pretty good. Wait a second.
Yeah.
Like, they called the matches. He called moves. He called moves I've never heard called on WWE TV in a long time. He interacts with Lawler so well. I mean, they interact with him like he's the new guy, but he's a professional in everything he does. He's not like geeky. They're not like making fun of him like they do with Rich Brennan or with Tom Phillips. They're treating him with respect, but they're throwing digs in there as being the new guy, but kind of like tongue in cheek, like, you know, you better get out of the way, new guy. You know, they're coming towards the announce table. You know, better protect yourself. And he's, you know,
and he
job
rolls
have hazard
with
pay Lawler, you know, and he
yeah,
rolls
exactly.
With it. The
exactly.
job have hazard pay Lawler. You know, as heel as Lawler is, he's not doing the whole, I don't want to say Gorilla Monsoon, Bobby Heenan, because that was good. But Heenan treated Monsoon like an idiot because they were good guy, bad guy, and they never agreed on anything. Lawler is, they have a good rapport, and one can call it like it is, and Lawler can heel out, and Byron Saxton can be face at the same time. And it's such a good, refreshing dynamic, and I don't know if WWE has had this in a long time.
I agree, and just that, I mean, do yourself a favor just for fun. If you're listening to this, well, you, anyone,
okay,
the viewer, the listener, I guess it's the viewer because there's something on screen even though it's not moving. I should like move stuff around on the screen right now. Anyway, but do yourself a favor and go on Twitter and type in and search hashtag SmackDown and watch and look at how much positive there is. Then go to hashtag Raw and compare the two. One is going to have a lot more mentions than the other. That's going to be the Raw side. But you're going to notice that SmackDown is predominantly positive because people are just people are noticing. It's not just us. It's not just, you know, guys who like to analyze wrestling like we do. It's just general purveyors of the product. It's just people who are like, wow, this is like very enjoyable. Like I know what's going on in the ring. I wish you would stop cutting the commercial during matches, but that has nothing to do with the announcers. They're even getting in their dumb promotional things that they have to do and all that, and it's not taking away from what's happening.
Right.
It's like,
it doesn't make me not want to watch The Colony on USA. Whereas, like, if they did it years past, it's just like, well, I'm never watching that.
I'm never watching that crap.
You're so annoying with it. I'm never watching it because of that.
Like,
you know what I mean? I'm never going on tout. Forget it. I'm not doing tout.
Like I almost wanted to watch The Colony anyway, but after they promoted it at the end, I was just like,
Sawyer.
I kind of like really want to watch this now.
we got to watch it. Sawyer's in it. From Lost.
Yeah. Oh, and
we got to find out what he did after he left the island.
Sarah Wayne Callies from Prison Break.
I loved her in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Wait, no, that's not the same person.
Quick things before we head out. One,
Larry's bad with names.
One, Mike Bennett and Maria Kanellis are fantastic. I am so sad the Kingdom in Ring of Honor is done. But they dropped the name The Kingdom in the One Night Only special. And they hinted to like an Empire, kind of. Because he is the Miracle. So they were doing this whole play on words thing. And Empire doesn't fit. But whatever he said, it fit. I really hope Matt Taven and Adam Cole show up in TNA. And they redo The Kingdom there as a faction. It would be phenomenal. They were so good in Ring of Honor, and I think I think fans would love it. But what were you going to say?
No, I was just saying cool. Yeah, that sounds fun.
I thought you said who. I was going to punch you in the microphone. but because the kingdom is great. So
Yeah.
Bennett's been fantastic. They've been great on the mic. Maria is fantastic. They work well. It fits. It's so good. The second thing, the social outcasts.
They got to
Do we
win.
like it?
They got to win.
They got to win. Heath Slater got to win on Ziggler the other week.
Hey,
I mean,
Bo Dallas won a match with the freaking Bo Dog.
and he kicked Heath Slater when he did it.
I know. It's
So
this gimmick's actually working.
they're dysfunctional. They're getting in each other's way. They're tripping over each other's lines on the microphone. They're doing each other's they did the victory lap today, or half a victory lap.
Right.
We also got to see Zack Ryder, Damian Sandow, Goldust, and Jack Swagger in the same ring at the same time.
Yeah. Like,
this is great. This is a revolution. That's how you do it.
Is it? I mean,
It's
it really is.
Big card revolution.
It's how you get. Yeah, it's how you get these underutilized guys back out in front of people who people enjoy watching, people enjoy talking about.
Right.
And you're getting them all in the ring, and it's not. And because you have,
and they're not on the same page, but they're on the same page at the same time. It's like a mess. And it's great.
but it's a beautiful mess. You know, it's beautiful chaos.
Mess. Yeah,
it's beautiful chaos is what it is.
It's artistic.
And it's like, and because, I've been griping about the 4-person faction thing for a while, but because you've got the social outcast as a 4-person faction, guess what?
We have a Survivor Series match for this month.
Yeah, but no.
Right.
You just back to your point. You get to see Sandow, Zack Ryder, Goldust, and Jack Swagger. You get to see these guys who've been relegated to superstars or nothing for a very long time.
It was a match that had nothing to do with titles. It had nothing to do with number one contenderships. It had nothing to do with a storyline that revolved around titles. It was 8 guys in the ring, entertaining.
And it was entertaining.
And it was entertaining, and that's just another reason why SmackDown was great this week.
Yeah, and we can't avoid the fact that a lot of that was the announcing too. That match was called really, really, really well too.
Right, and in absence of Ryback too. Why did they put Ryback with the social outcast? I really hope Ryback is not like a 5th social outcast, and they don't force him in there. I really, because of the whole. I don't know if you missed that. That might have been on the first hour of Raw. Ryback came out because the Wyatts were fighting the social outcasts.
Yeah, and he saved them. Yeah, that was right at the end of the first hour. Yeah.
All right. So.
Yeah, and he said, that made no sense. Like,
it made sense because last week the Wyatts beat them, but I really hope that they were fighting side by side, and I'm just like, oh god, please don't let him be the Tori Wilson in the oddities. I'm sorry, Sable in the oddities.
Well, what doesn't
out of place and
let's not spend too long on it. But what doesn't make sense on that? From another angle is the fact that Ryback and the Wyatts and Bray already had their feud. Yeah. Why does this even matter? Why is this being brought back up? So whatever. Yeah. But
whatever.
But yeah, with that we kind of covered all our bases, and we've covered the base and covered the base and covered the base, and we're
no trouble.
We're basically what is it called when you're like,
I am the walrus.
That's not what I was getting. You know what? I'm not even going to try to find my analogy. We're just going to shut this baby down. You know what? In honor of hashtag Hit Slater's music, I'm going to say it the right way. We're going to shut this baby down.
That was a good Jericho. I like that.
That was more Jericho, wasn't it? That was more Jericho. Good. So hoping to see more of him. You know what? That's why we didn't see New Day, because
Jericho wasn't around
Jericho said they're mine, and this is our feud, and we're only doing it on Raw because that's all I'm showing up for.
No Usos too. So okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my take on that. But we're really shutting it down now. So I'm the Duke. You got the Twitter on screen as always. So hit us up there if you have any questions, comments, whatever. If you got any hate, go ahead and spew it at us. We'll mute you, and so you can just keep spewing, and we won't even see it. So that's great. But besides that, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is for you. I'm the Duke, and bye-bye.
Get off my computer.